We start with an intro. Is that how podcasts work?
Yes. I wish we had something cute.
Yeah, we didn't make one.
No, we will with time. Like with
Yeah.
time, all of this, looking back on it, it's gonna look so good. We're gonna have a little intro screen. That'd be cute. You remember all the makeup gurus in like 2016? They all had those little intros. They're a little silly.
2016 was such a horror year that I don't remember anything from it. I remember that it sucked.
I remember this year I started to think, so that's like the biggest memory I have. Evil. Because the first half of that year, evil. The rest of that year, evil.
Shout out to everybody who was 16 during 2016.
Literally.
Also, shout out everybody who was 16 in 2020, because I feel like those are the worst years to be teenagers. Is
2020? Oh, because of the pandemic. I can't even
starts,
imagine.
And then when Trump was elected, that was like every adult had lost their mind. And then especially because we were in the South. So it
I know. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
2016 was crazy to be in like AP government, like GoPo, because like to be in the era of Trump getting elected, that was so crazy. Or screaming behind me because he was a Republican.
Yeah, I remember everybody screaming the day after because we came to school and all of, because you guys for AP government, you guys had to like color in the way you thought the states were going to vote, and everybody was like, man, so Florida really let me down. And that was the day we had like a Veterans Day thing at school too. And it was like, I came to school, everybody was really sad. Like everybody was really sad. I remember the first thing I did when I woke up is I opened Google, who's president? And I saw like the red Donald Trump sticker and I said, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a bad day today. Awful. And I had to like go on stage and do a poem. The principal came up and did a weird speech. Do you remember like the speech that he gave that day?
I didn't even think I was there at the president or the Veterans Day event.
Lucky for you. The principal, which will blur out his name or whatever, he came on stage and he did some speech that I'm sure was supposed to like unify. And
I know it didn't.
And I'm sure that it was supposed to be like politically neutral. Like he didn't like endorse or go against anything, but he came on and he was like, he just said like, and you know, who is that? That is not necessarily a person that we should vault, but it is a person that we should vault because it's the president. And like, so him trying to like be in the middle just made everybody mad. I specifically remember like sitting on stage with my stupid little poem and hearing from the crowd go like, oh, come on, man.
A man I hate. He's blankety blank. Sure.
There are a lot of them for me.
Oh, there are a lot of them for me. I literally keep telling, I'm like, I'm nothing if not a misandrist. Like, I hate men so bad. I hate them so bad.
Which leads
us proudly.
Which leads us beautifully into Stranger Things.
A man I hate. I'll go off. I'll start with my first note.
Well, no, we have to like do some we have to try to like introduce the show as a concept now. So we're Madelyn Cline's neighbors.
Yes.
Or at least we were at some point in time.
And at some point in time, yes.
And we're going to claim that because you know how there's like 6 degrees of separation between like every famous person and every normal person.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should start off every episode with like, I saw Madelyn Cline at Walmart, or like we should put her in like the most like Southern Goose Creek scenarios ever. Like Madelyn Cline was annoying the people behind the counter at Bojangles yesterday because there was nothing else to do. Or like, yeah, Madelyn Cline went to Royal Lanes and she tried to order the chicken fingers. The fryers were down.
What if she finds us and thinks it's slander?
Slander.
Yeah.
We aren't saying anything in a negative connotation. We're saying
she's bothering the people at the Bojangles.
Well, that's what every teenager in Goose Creek does. There's nothing to do there. There's stuff to do there now. We're from the middle of nowhere little town that's slowly being built up. I don't necessarily want to call it gentrifying because nobody was there. But I mean, maybe now it's gentrifying because the first people who got there got it because it was so cheap. And now that they're trying to build it up, it's becoming more expensive.
Yeah.
But they ain't kicked us out yet.
Not yet.
So we ride. I was reading a Casey McQuiston book, and she mentioned like that in her southern town that there's a rumor that they're building like a PF Chang's for like 2 years. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly how Goose Creek was with Starbucks. For like 10 years, we were like, there's going to be a Starbucks here. And I'm not even sure that there was I think we spoke it into existence, that Starbucks. That's pure manifest destiny.
I love it.
That was the American dream.
I love that Starbucks. It's the one thing that I'm like, oh, at least Goose Creek has a Starbucks.
Mm-hmm. And Madelyn Cline, I saw her in line at that Starbucks.
What do you think she orders? I would love to know.
Like a vanilla latte chai. I don't know the drinks. I don't know. I don't go to Starbucks.
Do you think it would be basic though? Or do you think like she would be the one with like the page order? Like the has to read it off her phone?
Well, because that's I was gonna say no, she wouldn't do the page thing, because if you're like a good Southern girl, you don't want to bother anybody.
True.
You just want to.
She's an LA girly now.
Well, I was gonna say that, but then she went to like Charleston Day School, and her parents were like rich, and that's how you know what it is. Because if you grew up in Goose Creek, but you went to school in Charleston, that's like, oh, so your family has money, and they understood that this town sucks, and they wanted you to get better and to get out of here. We should intro Madelyn Cline Neighbors podcast with everything we know about Madelyn Cline.
A short list. Just the same thing over and over again.
I remember she was in the year above us. And for the longest time, I thought maybe she went to our school. She didn't.
I imagine if she did, though.
Yeah, because I was like, there's no way she went to like BCA. But then I was like, but she seems like a Stratford girl. I was like, 100%, this is a Stratford girl. And she was like in the year above us or something. And that's why we don't know her.
Girly, but she's not from. Yeah, she's a Stratford girl.
But she didn't. She was definitely zoned for Stratford. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah.
even if she didn't go to Stratford, she's definitely the type to be zoned for Stratford. Didn't go to Stratford. I know she went to Coastal, which is like the party school.
I did read that. They were like looking into her backstory when I told them about this. Yeah. I was like, where did she go to
how
school?
Many famous people are from Goose Creek? Like that's like, it's different whenever somebody's from like Chicago or like from a borough of New York, because then like on every single project they're like, hey, and it's Chi-Town, it's Brooklyn all day every day. Blah, 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 blah. Nobody's gonna rep 843.
That's why Outer Banks works so good for her though, because she is. She is the Outer Banks girly.
Which like what else are they gonna do
for her for Knives Out? That's so crazy to me.
I know.
Like she really branched out, because the rest of them
they aren't really in stuff. Jonathan Davis is going to be in a new Netflix movie, like the Do Revenge thing. They probably didn't give him a lot to do in it because, of course, they're not going to give our Black kings what they deserve. But he's going to be in it, and he's going to be amazing, and that's going to get him what he deserves.
Because Knives Out, I can't wait. I was watching Andre text me. He was like, new Knives Out trailer is out. And I was like...
And they're releasing it on Netflix, which I didn't see coming.
I can't wait.
I thought that was going to be like a theater release for sure.
Is it going to be in theaters or is it just on Netflix?
I mean, they're promoting it right now as a Netflix film, so I don't think it's going to be in theaters. It's very weird. I agree with you.
I would like to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love Knives Out.
Glass Onion. I'm very excited.
I'm like,
Catherine Hahn, Janelle Monáe, Madelyn Cline. Those are my 3 angels. That's my Charlie's Angels. Kingsley-Wynn's Angels. We haven't introduced our names. I'm Kingsley-Wynn, by the way.
I'm just gonna say my first name. I'm Nyla. I don't need to say.
Kingsley-Wynn's my first name.
Oh yeah.
And we're here to discuss popular culture.
Popular culture for the girlies, gays, days.
We do it for the girls, the gays, and them days.
Exactly.
All of whom will be guest starring throughout this pod.
I can't wait, literally.
Yeah. So Stranger Things. Let's do like a mini recap. Everybody knows what the show is about because it's like a phenomenon.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of it, the show is what is it about? It's like a boy goes missing. A boy goes missing is how it starts.
is how I'm gonna explain it.
I did see a whole TikTok about how if you took out the supernatural stuff going on, it would still be a really good show, which I agree for like seasons 1 through like 3.
You know what I realized?
What?
I haven't seen season 3.
You didn't finish season 4 either, which is
okay, I had 2 episodes left. And
which is like, take the pod seriously. We're trying to establish ourselves as Madelyn Cline's neighbors. And you come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding, having only seen the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things in their entirety.
I only had 2 episodes left of season 4.
One could argue those are like the most important ones.
They look so boring, I guess, to tell about the show.
But that's something that we should talk about, because season 4 was my least favorite. It was so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't, the writing wise. I'm starting to feel
I'm
very
glad you
Euphoria.
agree with me.
Very Euphoria.
I wouldn't say it was that bad. And we have tea to spill about Euphoria at some point as well.
You know how I feel about Euphoria. But
you know how I feel about Euphoria.
That's gonna be literally our like episode.
Because I've got stuff to say about but shout out to my girl Zendaya. She just won that Emmy last night, second year in a row. And she's like the youngest to ever win it twice. She is that girl. She is the moment. She did clear, and she did do what she needed to do. That was very, very iconic of her. I saw that Stranger Things got nominated for like best drama at the Emmys last night, which was like,
I mean, I get why, because of
I don't, because if you're going to be anything, be for real.
I literally made a note. I said, can we talk about him, or is he off limits? Because the stands will come for us.
First of all,
have you seen those TikToks? Eddie Baby? Have you seen Eddie Baby?
No. And I'm glad that I'm wearing my headphones so that my phone doesn't pick up on that, because if it does, then I'm going to start seeing those TikToks, and I don't want to. He died and I laughed. I laughed when he died. I was happy. I was overjoyed. I didn't
hate him until I got online, and then I was like I didn't care about him. I still
don't hate him. It's just very clear. The Stranger Things writers are not good at killing off characters. So like whenever they have a character that they're going to kill off, you know, the second they come on screen, you're like, oh, this person's going to die. The only time they killed someone and it like had impact was Hopper. And then they brought him back. And they brought him back in the worst way, because they didn't keep it a secret. They like told all of us. They were like, by the way, Hopper's going to come back next season. And they put him in all the trailers, and they put him in the teasers. And then they spent the whole first episode building up the suspense around like, is Hopper alive? It's like, you told us. You told us he was. There was no.
I remember accidentally telling Andre that Hopper was alive, but I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw that in a trailer, like in the teasers. So I was like, it's not a secret.
Yeah. Well, like, so like, it'll probably be good. Like, if I could watch the show separate from the trailer, from what I had in my mind from the trailer, then I probably would have been more shocked to see Hopper in the snow in Russia. And like, I would have been more scared by like the Russian doll that came in the mail. That would have been cooler and like more like thrilling. Mm-hmm. But because I knew that it was him, I knew that he was like, alive. Okay, cool. It was like, it was like a waste of time almost, where I was like, hurry up. Like we're establishing stuff we already know.
Well, that's why it took me so long to even watch. So I watched the season 4, because the whole time I was like, okay, and like, why is everything taking so long?
Yeah, I know that like, from what I've been seeing online, people really didn't like the separate groups this season, because that's like the Stranger Things formula, is to like separate all of the main characters and then have them reunite in like the last episode. And like this year, the groups were not grouping, but the Hawkins gang was good, which is like, the Steve gang is going to be the best every season, hands down, just because Steve is such a great character. You could literally put Steve with like all of the adults and it would be great.
The Will scenes though, Will was my favorite season.
Noah Schnapp, so funny.
He was so funny the whole season. He popped. I was watching like edits of him, and I was like, he really popped off. He did what he had to do.
Like, because I remember watching volume 1 of season 4 and being like, are they going to let Noah like do anything? Or are they going to like any of the boys do anything? Because like Mike wasn't doing much either. It was really like, nor was Jonathan, and Argyle kind of felt like a waste of time. And then like in volume 2, whenever like Noah I keep saying Noah, what's his name? Will. Whenever Will and Jonathan are having that like conversation and Jonathan's essentially trying to say like, you can come out to me. That was like the first time that I almost like cried since like Hopper died in season 3. That was like the most emotional I felt the entire season. And it took so long to get there.
That was so crazy. I didn't even watch it, but I've seen so many TikToks of that scene, or like all the scenes that I know.
And
but
then like
Will's my favorite. I love him. But Mike,
yeah. But like
the unslavification of Mike Wheeler,
we have to talk about how Stranger Things, how the Duffer Brothers handle queerness in the 80s in Stranger Things, because that's absolutely insane. I understand that they're like, this is like I was gonna say Republican, but is Hawkins like a Republican conservative town?
Yeah.
Probably. I know that Mike's family is definitely conservative because that's something that they sort of peppered into, I think, season 2.
Well, because in my head, because it's in Indiana, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know if Indiana's a red state, right? That sounds right, is all.
It has to be.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Yeah. Sure.
Right. So like they just feel like maybe they're like afraid to think that they can talk about it. I think they could have handled it better. I think that whenever writers try to do anything based in a red state, they just like, I'm not sure if they're like from one. I know that the Duffer Brothers are from like North Carolina, and North Carolina can like flip. Sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's red. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they just, I don't know, like every single time they try to like write something based in like the South or in like a small town where like people are conservative and the people running it are very like morally upright, it's just very like poorly done, and it's very hard to relate to any of the characters. They all feel like caricatures, and they all have like really strange accents. But like this one isn't in the South, so that helps, even though it's filmed in Atlanta. But that just shows up like incredibly in how they write queer characters and their characters of color. They just don't really give them anything at all to do with both their queerness or their non-whiteness.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. That's why I was like not excited, but like when he finally had a moment, I was like, okay, because like everyone is like,
yeah. Well, like my mom, like, I mean,
4 seasons later,
Gen Z knows that Will is gay, but like my mom loves Stranger Things, and she was like, what's his deal? And I was like, oh, he's like, Will is gay. And she was like, did they say that? Like, cause like my mom isn't like, she's not like, what is the word, just like unaware, where she's like, I didn't know that this person could be gay. Like my mom's good at picking stuff up on like television stuff. So like whenever Will is like sobbing in a van with this horribly crude drawing of like Mike Wheeler with a heart on a horse, my mom was like,
weird kid. I know. I know my dad. Like, I haven't even talked to my dad about it because my dad loves Stranger Things, and I know he probably is just as confused. It's probably like, oh, Will's just a weird kid.
Yeah, like they were just, and I mean, they did hint at it before, and like even before it was really obvious, there were still people online who were like, oh yeah, Will's character is going to be gay. Like that's like from season 1, people were like, yeah, because just how like Joyce would describe him, we were like, oh, okay, we get it, we get the idea. But he does nothing, because it's like, even if he is gay, why is he just obsessed with Mike?
Literally. No, I was watching again TikTok edits of like the hints of Will, and I was like, damn, they didn't do a good job. Like, and it took them 4 seasons for them to even like hint. So like for him to get actual like maybe anything like an argument, a relationship is gonna be.
They're not going to do it. I don't expect it at all. I saw people genuinely who were like, Byler is real and it's happening and it's canon. I was like, let's remember who's writing this show.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't realize that. Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I saw like people online saying like they pointed out like Robin hasn't even said she's a lesbian. Like she never even says that word. And I realized like, yeah, she does it.
I thought she did to Nancy.
You think it's like, what is it, that Mandela effect? Because I had the same I had the same thought. I was like, what? She's totally a lesbian, and she's really like proud of it, and she's like happy, and she says it, and she's basically a walking pride pin.
No, yeah, I knew that because she doesn't even tell that girl she likes. that, she's, 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 that No, I know, but she doesn't
you're
really
right.
talk about it.
Yeah, but you're right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
she's not completely comfortable in it. You're right.
Yeah.
But she just never says the word. Even whenever she comes out to Steve, I think she just says
No, she doesn't.
Steve, and she like looks in the camera, like focuses tight on her for a second. Which, regardless of how poorly that dialogue of coming out may have been handled for like a contemporary audience, I still think that's like the best scene Stranger Things has ever done.
I loved when 11 whacked that girl with a roller skate. I love that scene. Like her acting in that, like that whole series of events was my favorite in season 4.
I do
like the juxtaposition of them, and then her just going up and like bam.
Because I will
like
say,
the film, it was so good.
I didn't care.
No, I didn't care. But then it was like, oh, I just really like what's going on. Like I thought it was fun.
Like, because I mean, I am of the belief of like talk shit, get hit. But like her hitting Angela, I was like, yeah, of course that would happen. Just because, you know, they set it up, and so it wasn't like surprising, and it wasn't like I was like necessarily rooting for her to go do it. I had more like tension and like really like rooting for something in the end of the first episode when Lucas and Erica are playing the games and they both take the winning shot for like basketball and Dungeons and Dragons.
Like that whole series of events, I thought was good.
I was like on the edge of my seat, like, oh my gosh, I hope they win. I hope they win. I'm so scared. And then by the time that like she hits Angela with the roller skate, I was like, this could go either way. I was like, I don't really care how this ends up.
I like that series of events. I did not like Millie Bobby Brown this season. I liked her in the flashbacks more than I liked her in anything else. Like,
speaking of the flashbacks, what's his name? Jamie Campbell Bower, Henry Creel. I need to give the girls their flowers. Whenever he was cast as, what was his name in Mortal Instruments, as like the bad boy, like love interest guy, I did not see it. I didn't see it. I was like,
I texted you.
I was like, yeah, he's fine. It's whatever. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not losing my mind over it. And then for some reason, him in this role, I was like, oh, I get it.
That's what I'm saying. And then he killed those kids. And then I said,
no, I wasn't even. See, here's the thing. I don't want to say I was on his side because that feels kind of rude. But like, it's not necessarily I was on his side, right? They're still kids. They're kids. But it was more like she realizes that he's one. So essentially that's like her older brother, you know? Me personally, if my older brother tells me to stay in the closet, I'm staying in the closet. I can hear whatever it is that she heard outside, bullets, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, kids screaming. I'm staying in the closet because my brother told me to stay in the closet. I don't know why she felt the need to walk out into the hall and like look at all the dead bodies. Oh my God. He told you to stay in the closet.
He told you.
I don't know why you're gasping. He tried to tell you to stay in the closet. She comes out. She's like, what did you do? I can't believe you did this. I told you to stay in the closet. It's like, I know this is wrong. I know this is traumatizing to see, but he did what he felt he had to do to get out of there. He was trying to get you out.
That wasn't even the original plan. So like,
it's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the people that you already didn't like are now gone. Like, but what do you want the girls to do?
What do you want? That's what I'm saying. As soon as I literally sent the text and I was like, something about one. I was like, I get it.
Which was such like a stupid reveal as well, that he was number one. Did anybody gasp? Was anybody shocked?
I assumed that he was one, or like one of the like previous. Yeah, I assumed he was one, but I did not assume he was Vecna. Oh, we should mark like spoilers. Like,
if somebody's listening to this, they've seen more than you.
Okay, you have a point. Yeah, okay. Anyways, but I don't know. He looks so good though. I'm not gonna lie.
I suddenly understood a lot. I suddenly got.
I never seen one Instruments, but I loved him in that.
Short view of all the characters. Mike, he's just there to love Elle and to be wanted by Will. And they randomly have him have this weird block where he can't say that he loves Elle anymore out of nowhere. They don't explain that. Hopper takes up a sword and slashes off the head of a Demogorgon. For a second, you're like, where did the sword come from? But then you have to remember, like, oh, they gave them like a key to this chamber thing. Lucas is best boy. Absolutely, he is the best boy. He gets paid dust. He gets absolutely nothing from that writer's room. And at this point, they're going to have to reckon with me. They're going to have to fight with me. Because why did you have them for so long talk about like, oh, we love girls. Oh, like we have to grow up. What did you think? We're just going to play D&D forever? I want to grow up. I want to be popular. I want to make more friends. I want to be liked. They get to high school. Lucas gets on the team. Lucas gets popular. And they're like, Lucas, we're not going to your game.
So
they're like, we had a prior commitment to D&D. Like the basketball schedule is posted on like the first day of the semester. They give you every single day they're going to be playing basketball. That was not a surprise that he had his championship game where he threw the championship shot. Okay, like put some respect on Lucas Sinclair's name. I absolutely demand that. I demand respect for Erica. And I do that because they're the only Black people I'm going to see on this show. And I take that to heart.
I am glad they added Max more, like I was saying. I think that's the last thing I said. I love Sadie Sink. What can I say?
Mm-hmm.
I love her. All too well. 10-minute version. I love. Don't get me started. Dylan O'Brien.
Don't get me started on Dylan O'Brien, because that's what you know that I can be here forever for.
He was so like, good, but also Sadie Sink was so good. I want to watch Not Okay, off subject, but I want to watch Not Okay just to see him.
I watched it, not just to see him, but I also really like Zoe Deutsch. It was good. It was good. But it's like, you know what it's like whenever you watch something and like that you hyped up in your head and it ends up being fine, but you're like, but it's also like, what was I expecting for like my worldview to change? Like it was just a white woman investigating white female victimhood, and she didn't uncover anything. Like she didn't. It wasn't like she like realized something in the process of creating the movie. So it was, but like to her credit, what was I expecting? Like critical race theory. Like Judith Butler essays on gender, like that was my fault. Why did I expect that from a Hulu movie starring Dylan O'Brien and Zoe Deutsch?
He just looks so good. That's all I can think about.
What else? We both hate Jonathan, and I'm very glad that you pointed that out. I hate him.
How much I hate him. What's a one valid point of liking Jonathan?
I think that like. Do you think that like Jonathan is like the Duffer Brothers, like Mary Sue, like he like just represents how they felt in high school, just like this nerdy guy, like no friends, maybe. But maybe that's me projecting onto the Duffer Brothers because there's no proof. I don't have any proof.
There's no proof, but what other reason would there be to make that character?
He just feels so useless.
Maybe do I just hate who? But Charlie Heaton, is that his name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do I hate him?
I don't dislike Charlie Heaton. I don't know him. I don't know who that guy,
that
man is.
True, you're right. But
I do remember Twitter calling him a boneless Harry Styles, and I do remember that took me out for a good 30 minutes.
That's so accurate, though. So accurate.
I think he's fine. It's just that the character. I realized I only like Jonathan as a character when he's with Will, and
yeah, exactly.
Even whenever he was with Will this season, he wasn't talking to him. It was just him like looking in the rearview mirror, like, "Oh, look, my brother's gay."
I liked him the most this season out of any of the other seasons because
and he didn't talk. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was like, and it was also surprising for him to be like, oh, I don't want to go to college. I don't want to go to this college with Nancy, and I don't really want to work for a newspaper. And I was like, oh, I was like, you should have said something earlier, man. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the whole time I was like, I have no idea like who you are or like what you want out
Besides
of life
the
or
newspaper,
like what are
because
your
in
goals?
the third season, he yells at Nancy about
Yeah,
this
he's
being
like,
a
I need
serious
this
job.
job. Like, I need money. And every single time he talks about his personal life, it's a jump scare. Like in season 1, he's like, oh yeah, the whole reason why they don't notice Will goes missing at first is because Jonathan was staying late at work to get extra money.
Yeah.
They never tell you where he works. So whenever Jonathan is like, yeah, I was working.
Where?
That was like a jump scare. I was like, you have a job? And like season like 3, he's on the phone with I think like Nancy. And he's like, maybe it's season 2. And she's like, like, where were you? What are you doing? And he's like, oh, well, I had a really late night with Fagin and the gang. I was like, it's Fagin.
Literally, I don't know anything about Jonathan, and I don't care to. I don't care to.
I've literally cried. It was such like that scared me more than Vecna. When Jonathan got on the phone and he's like yawning because he's so tired. He's like, I just had a crazy night with Fagin and the gang. Who?
Who?
Who is that? Like Nancy's like a detective, and so she's like so quick to like pick up on stuff. If Jonathan said to me, I spent all night with my friend Fagin and his gang, I would be like, is that the villain this season? Who is that? Who have you been spending time? Who are you? You don't have friends. Let's fix that real fast. His whole character is about how he's like a loner and he doesn't have friends. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly he's hanging out with Fagin and the gang. He's hanging out with so many people that he doesn't even say their name. He calls them Fagin, which has to be a nickname. There's no way that you named your child Fagin. And a group of several or more people who he just refers to as the gang. Jonathan has a gang. Where are they? Who are they?
Where are they? Why have we never seen them? Or
do they go to school with him? Which is like, what does Jonathan even do? Like, is he in any clubs? Does he just takes pictures, right? How does he, where do you meet?
Where's my example 1? Pool party taking pictures of Nancy and Steve. What? Why? First of all, how do we skim past that? Like, how do we go from like that happening
in the plot? I'll tell you that right now because I never forgot and I never forget.
Does he never tell Nancy? Is that a plot line that I should know about?
I mean, I think Steve tells Nancy. There's like some random girl who catches on. I can't remember how. She like notices that he's taking these inappropriate pictures. I think she's also a photographer and she sees the pictures in like the dark room or something. And and instead of telling Nancy like, hey, this random guy who you don't know, by the way, like you know him peripherally as like the brother of your brother's friend. He's been taking pictures of you naked. And she doesn't do that. She does not tell Nancy. She tells Steve, which I mean, I guess, because isn't Steve technically in some of the pictures too? So maybe she kind of gets a pass on that. Yeah. So like she tells Steve that like this random guy is taking pictures of your girlfriend and you naked canoodling. And then like he breaks his camera. We're supposed to believe that that's bad. Especially because Jonathan, like Steve buys Jonathan a new camera. Why? Steve in that scene when he has the flowers, why am I sorry? Why am I sorry? I don't understand. Why am I sorry? What did I do?
What the hell am I sorry for?
Like, if Steve trust your judgment.
Trust your gut.
You broke his camera for a reason. Like
so weird.
He proved that he can't handle that responsibility. They shouldn't have gotten him that new camera. I will say though, and obviously this isn't going to happen. I know this. This is like the level of Byler delusion that the Byler stands have. But Steve, Nancy, Jonathan, throuple.
No, we've already talked about this, and the answer is no.
Just because you don't see the vision.
It's because I'm fine with Steve and Nancy. I'm fine.
Steve and
I don't want
Nancy,
Jonathan.
yeah. Steve and Nancy, yeah.
I don't want.
They've got chemistry.
I don't want Jonathan.
Which is
on the
crazy
screen.
because, I mean, in real life, Nancy and Jonathan's actors are dating.
They're cute.
Yeah, and they have chemistry in real life. Obviously, they're dating.
Screen?
As soon as that camera rolls, and you know what? It's Jonathan's fault because Jonathan doesn't have a personality.
I hate Nancy too. So
I feel like Nancy has a personality. It's just kind of wishy-washy.
It's just annoying.
Like, I remember whenever season 1 came out in like 2016, 2017, I like texted you because you were the one who put me on to Stranger Things. And I like texted you because I was like, why is Nancy crawling in the tree? It was like everything that we had like learned about Nancy is that she's like very like studious and she's very smart, and not just like book smart. She's also street smart. She wants to take responsibility for her actions, and she's just not dumb. Like, she's going to be the final girl in a horror movie. And like, she goes into the woods with this guy who took naked pictures of her, and she sees a portal to an alternate dimension that she's not sure she'll be able to get back out of. And her first thing to do is like, I'm going to go in there.
You know, Nancy, it's because when she loves somebody, she'll do whatever. When she jumped in that water after Steve, I said,
well,
you're okay.
I mean, that made sense to me just because Nancy is really brave. Like, I feel like...
That's why she went in the tree.
Well, no, because by then she had been in there before. Like, I feel like for her to wander into an alternate dimension alone for the first time in the middle of the woods, again, with a guy who took creepy photos of her, that was very strange. To go back into the alternate dimension to save your friend that you know for sure is in there, that's different.
Love.
Especially because, like, you know your way in and you know how to get back out. You can just swim back out. Assumedly. They didn't know that they weren't going to be able to come back out. But she had a good, what is it, a guesstimate? She's smart, but until she's not for plot reasons, then that's weird.
Exactly. One thing about Duffer Brothers, they're going to fill that plot hole.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of the throuple in my head, so then there's Steve, who is obviously the best character on the show. And I mean, of course, I'm happy they didn't, but they should have killed him off in season 4.
In the bat scene?
Not maybe, like, not necessarily from the bats. Maybe like from like how Robin was saying, like, are you sure you don't have like rabies or something? Like maybe he like succumbed to his injuries or something.
So weird, and like since before, like he needed to be a final girl. Like he needs to die in that episode.
Well, it was just weird because I mean the same thing happens to Eddie, and then they're like, but Eddie's dead. And it's like, well, how long were the birds after him? Because it's like, because the birds were after Steve for however long it took for all 3 of the other teens to get down, to like swim down to the bottom and come back out. Eddie was getting attacked by birds for however long. It couldn't have been too long, right?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
It's just weird that like they went through the same thing and like Eddie died but Steve didn't. And I mean, I get it because I don't want Steve to die, but story wise it would have been a good story if Steve were the one that died.
Yeah, but it's never a main character. Like,
yeah,
who do you think will be the first main character to die? Because eventually somebody's gotta go.
I don't know. I mean, I still want to say Steve just because I mean the Duffer Brothers didn't they say that they like planned to kill him off, or they didn't plan for him to come back at least? Like they didn't expect him to stick around for as long as he was there. So like I feel like if they had like an ending and plan, Steve wasn't in that original plan, so it makes sense if they like killed him off or something.
Yeah, I don't know who else they would kill off. I don't know who would make sense. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe 11. That would be like a shocker.
That'd be a shocker, but like Millie Bobby Brown ain't gonna go without a fight.
But I mean, it's like the last season, so like they can kill whoever they want. You know, they don't have to worry about getting the actor back. Season? Yeah.
Oh.
And then they're already planning to do spinoffs and whatnot.
Why do they even do a spinoff of it? I'm over it. They need to change. Well, I guess if one of the major character dies, then that's a big.
Oh, I do have to say I love Robin.
I do love Robin,
and I love that with her character. Like, obviously, they wrote her to be straight and to be Steve's love interest after Nancy. And then I think I read that like Maya Hawke was like, I want her to be a lesbian. Could she be a lesbian? And then they changed it. But I still like that they still made like Robin and Steve partners. Like, I think that's so cute. Like,
yeah, I love them. I think they're very cute.
Right. Because like it didn't negate it at all. Like they turned her character gay, and yet they still made them like stick together through everything. And they're still very much like a couple, even though it's a platonic couple and not a romantic couple. Yeah. My sexuality very jibed with that. I really liked that.
I also really liked.
I will say though, I don't like her love interest.
The band girl?
Yeah, I don't think that they have like chemistry. What's Vicky? Anne with an E. I'm happy to see Anne with an E acting. Glad to see her. Sorry to the Anne with an E stands, because y'all fought the good fight with that renew Anne with an E. But I didn't see it. I saw more chemistry with like Robin and that like weird, I don't want to say weird, but like that extra who was like telling them where to put the clothes in the last episode whenever they were donating stuff. Yeah, I know you don't know who that is.
Yeah, put a picture in.
Yeah, I'll put like a little reference to the scene. It's like Robin just comes up and she's like, oh, like how can we help? Where can we go to help? And there's this like cute little like tiny black girl behind the thing wearing like a little name tag. And she's like, oh yeah, you can put your clothes here and you can help with the food over there. And and they literally talked for 5 seconds, but there was more chemistry there than in the entire, oh, she sings like a Muppet scene.
I forget about that scene. Yeah, chemistry-wise, not that good. Like her and Steve have really, maybe because her and Steve have such good chemistry. And it's like,
yeah, so it's like if you're going to give Robin a partner, it has to be someone who's better than Steve. And nobody's better than Steve.
Nobody's better. I guess but Steve Hart to type it.
Because that's my baby. That's my baby.
Jonathan has like 5 fucking points.
Jonathan's a loser.
He is a loser. I said Jonathan is fucking lame.
I mean, like,
I said Steve is the one that fights everyone and nothing just stands there and does nothing.
Yeah,
Steve
and that's what I appreciate with Steve. Because they took away his bat, and I care about that. I want Steve to have his nail bat back. That's his signature weapon. That's like his thing. Steve loses more than he wins, but he's still going to fight.
Yeah, he's still going to fight.
Like, and that's what I appreciate about that man.
He looks at Mike and he's like,
Nancy? that was a great scene.
It was so funny.
Steve, like, I love how he's so good at like protecting the kids and how it's like not even a question. I think that's so refreshing to see in a character, like someone who like immediately knows right from wrong and doesn't question it at all. He's like, oh, these are kids who are younger than me, so of course I have to protect them, and of course I'm going to say no, I go first, and like even if we're going into danger, I go first. Yeah, exactly. Like Joyce.
Yeah. Really left to go to Russia. Said whatever.
Yeah, like people were hating on Joyce online. They were like, chill, she's got kids. Does Joyce know that? Does Joyce know that she has 3 kids that she's got to take care of?
11 gone. Doesn't know.
Like, please be for real. I mean, just silly. And then she keeps lying to them. If there's one thing that you need to learn about these kids is that they can handle anything. Like, they've been through it.
They could have just told, like, why didn't she just tell them?
Like, whenever she was like, we're going to get like, she could have just been like, we're going to get Hopper. Instead, she's like, I'm going on a conference, and for some reason, Murray is going with me. Okay, suspicious, but whatever. And now we're getting shot at, and whenever we try to call you, you can't answer because you're not where you said you were. So now you're going to be mad at me. She's not. She wasn't mad when she came back. But if she were a real good parent, she would be mad at me because she'd be like, I called from Russia and you didn't answer. I came to the house. There were bullet holes in the wall. What were you doing while I was gone? But she's too bad of a mom. She didn't even know all that. So I guess it doesn't even matter. But like, they needed her. Like, Jane got arrested. Even if supernatural stuff didn't happen, Jane got arrested. Like, 11's going to juvie, Mom. We need, like, the insurance cards. We need, like, do you have a lawyer? I don't know if we have a lawyer. Like, do we work pro bono? Like, Jonathan, we don't even know if he's 18 yet. He probably can't sign anything.
I was like, who's in high school and who's not in high school anymore? Because
Mhm.
I thought Nancy and Jonathan and Steve were the same age, and then they were still in high school, and I was like,
Well,
I thought y'all worked for the newspaper.
I can understand that Jonathan was a year older than them. I thought that Robin was in Steve's. No, not Jonathan. I understood that Steve was older than them, but I thought that Robin was in Steve's grade. So
Is she
that
not?
threw me
Oh
off.
yeah, because she was in the Marching Man.
Yeah, so that
Because
really
they were
threw
in
me
math
off
class
whenever he would
together.
drive her to
Weird.
school. Yeah. But I mean, that makes sense for Steve to like be in an underclassmen math
Lower
class.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
that
that
doesn't make
still
sense.
confused me because, like, I don't
No,
know,
I was
just
so
something about the way they
confused.
talked where they were like, yeah, can you believe that class we were in? And blah, blah, blah. Like, they were just talking about high school like it was sort of nostalgic.
Well, I at least thought Steve and Nancy were the same age, but I guess it makes sense that they're not.
Yeah, they didn't spend too much time on that.
They didn't, and I was so confused. That's the thing about Stranger Things. I spend so much time confused. Just confused. And I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. I don't know how these people know each other. I don't know what this plot means.
Mm-hmm. But like, see, one thing about me is I'm going to go with the flow. So like,
I'm gonna watch it, but
so like whatever you toss at me, I'll handle. And like, I think I'll only be able to think up questions after the entire season is done. Like whenever Umbrella Academy comes out, they do so much crazy stuff, and I'm like, well, I mean, just know that it's crazy. You're like,
oh yeah, like from what I've seen,
exactly. Like they'll have like a talking monkey, and they're doing dance battles, and they're like the lore is all over the place. But like, you don't see me asking questions. You don't see me being like, well, why can the monkey talk? Or like, well, why are you going off the edge of oblivion to go see your dad? Like, I don't ask that question. I wait till they finish.
Let me talk.
And then I ask.
True.
So like,
you're right.
Stranger Things can do whatever they want, and I'm not going to be like, why? But I'll be like, why derogatory though? Because like with the clock, I don't feel like that was. I like that was just weird.
I kind of liked it though. It added. I think because they were trying to add more like horror, I guess, aspects. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were trying to do something, which I kind of liked, but I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. It would have been different if there were like clocks throughout the entire show. And then now suddenly Vecna is like, no, when I was a kid, I was really obsessed with this clock. That would be different.
It felt like Vecna was a season 4 thing. Like I know Vecna's supposed to be like the end all be all.
Yeah.
But he just like was very random and like out. I was like, this doesn't even make sense for the rest of the show.
He felt like a season villain. He didn't feel like the final boss.
Yeah,
even
but
though
he was supposed
they
to
keep
be
saying like, yeah, he is. They were like, he's been behind this the entire time. And I was like, but where's he been then? And I was like,
yeah, exactly.
why wasn't he doing anything?
I guess because they had to like. I don't think they thought they would get this far. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I want to give them until season 5 until I'm like, oh, they didn't think that through, because they probably have like the last season to explain stuff, especially because I think that there was like a reason that Will specifically went missing, and you know why he didn't die when he was in Upside Down. Yeah, I want a Will villain era. He deserves it.
I love that. He would do so good.
Will deserves an evil Will era. I mean, technically he had one in season 2. Yeah.
The chair. I loved him. He was so good when they tied him to that chair.
The scene where Joyce is like, you don't remember your own birthday, and like they like cut to like that close up of Noah Schnapp with those like big like Sixth Sense kid eyes. He's so good. They need to let Noah Schnapp be like crazy in this last season. He deserves it. We deserve it as an audience.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we have to talk about Eddie. The girls love Eddie.
The girls love Eddie. The stands love Eddie.
The stands love Eddie.
I didn't want to.
And we're both quiet. and we both shrug.
They just don't care. I'll talk about it.
Well, it was just weird that they came up with like a soft launch Steve. I was like for Dustin's character, I was like, oh, so like, are they going to kill Steve and replace him with Eddie? And then they didn't kill Steve. And
I thought Eddie was for Steve and Nancy, because he notioned so many times that Nancy and Steve should get together, which I think is such like I would love Nancy and Steve together, but I don't think they make sense anymore. And I just like They hit it.
They definitely don't match on like on paper level. I think that Steve and Nancy have chemistry, but like the scene where he's like, yeah, I want like 6 kids. And like Nancy, who from season 1 has been like, I do not want to get like married in like a regular like 2.5 like picket fence family. I absolutely hate that. But I mean, I guess Steve kind of offers like sort of not a middle ground, because he's like very crazy with like 6 kids. That's a lot. But him sort of saying like, but I want to like be in an RV and be on the road. I don't want to stay like in a house the entire time. I want to like go to the beach with the kids and like have and be like a real dad, which is really fun. That's really cute.
Yeah, I love Steve.
Steve is just a great character. That's just a great character. He has so many like desires. That's really what it is. It's like, I can't tell you much about what the other characters want outside of like beating the villain. But Steve kind of has his life together, which he probably doesn't think he does. He's probably like, I'm like 19 and I don't have a real job and I'm not going to college and my parents don't care about me. But like, I mean, he's got a job, at least. One thing about Steve, he got a job. He's working at that family video. He's working at that Scoops Ahoy. He's going to provide for those kids. He's going to make sure that they're babysat. He's going to make sure they're protected. He's going to drive Robin to school. He's going to make sure that she gets to 8 a.m. class.
Like in the beginning of the season, he was driving her to school. And I was like, okay, so they both go to school. No. He's just a good friend. He's just a good guy.
Yeah, he's just a good man. He's just a good man. And that's rare to find. I really appreciate Steve.
I do really appreciate Steve.
He just wants to be a good friend and he wants to be a dad one day.
Love.
Him and Spree.
I gotta watch it. I heard it was good.
Yeah, I watched it with Jacob. We were screaming. It's very fun.
I want to see his villain era. I want to see.
It was very fun to see Josh Ovalle in it. Ovalle. I'll never learn how to say that name because nobody ever says it out loud. I only ever see it written down. But yeah, Josh was in it, and I thought that was fun just because Josh and Finn at least used to be like so like close and do videos together all the time, and that was really cute.
I do remember that era.
Which, bring that back. They had good chemistry as well. They're really funny together. They have like sort of like a cursed vine energy whenever they're together, and like I don't know, like they just feel like they give me the same energy of like a grainy footage comedy sketch show. To close it out, Lumax needs more content. They just do. That's what they deserve. And season 5.
I have no idea. I have no idea what season 5 is going to be about. What happens at the end of season 4?
The town like falls apart.
Yeah, the town falls apart. They fight some.
Yeah.
Imagine.
It was also very weird for Nancy to be like, they're attacking our Hawkins. I didn't know you liked Hawkins. I didn't know you liked your hometown.
Did she want to leave? Go to that school?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I didn't know you cared that much about Hawkins. I mean, like, not to be like, that she wouldn't be sad, you know, that the town went away. But it was just weird for her to be like, our Hawkins.
Also, I don't understand. Okay, random. But, like, how come it only affects Hawkins? Do they do that?
I mean, I assume it's just because Vecna is mad about living there or something. Whenever
That's
he
all.
lived there.
He's just mad.
I feel they've got to give us more flashbacks with that man because his motives don't make sense at all.
Like I said, he is a random character. They just introduced him this season, but he's not like, I don't understand how he's supposed to be like
the big,
the final boss, the big boss. Yeah.
It is very weird. Maybe they'll explain more because right now, it is weird.
I don't even imagine they will. I don't know. I need to watch more. I need to read more articles.
But that's about it. But that's it. We're Madelyn Cline's neighbors. Until next time, whenever Madelyn is getting told by the police that she cannot stay in this park as it is closed at sundown. And just other random Goose Creek things that happen to the teenagers who live here.
Yeah.
Follow us on the things on TikTok. We'll probably have a TikTok. On Spotify, whatever we post this on. I don't know what we're posting it on. Spotify.
I mean, I imagine we'll put the video part on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube, Spotify, maybe like a few TikTok clips.
Yeah.
Follow us. Fun. Have fun. Yeah. Bye. Bye from Madelyn Cline's neighbors.
Bye.
Bye, guys.